Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Monday, August the 22nd, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined by the one and only. Look at her. She's in her room there with her grand piano, her lodge up there in the mountains somewhere. It's Deb Lutz. How are you, Deb?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I won a big GPP last week, and I bought this place. So
another one you got. That's like your seventh house, isn't it, Deb?
Right. I'm doing good. I'm back in Phoenix. I got 4 weeks of non-weight bearing still ahead of me, so I'm going to be focused on DFS.
That is awesome. And for those that don't know, Deb took a spill and broke her leg, and it was like Joe Theismann kind of break. We're talking compound fracture, both bones. Oh, God bless you, man. So she had surgery. She's recovering, but you know what? This is creating Deb's DFS focus.
This is it. It's been a good, the first week's been good. I think Coach Talk has had some really nice wins, and it's just going to keep continuing.
We really have. We've been pretty hot in baseball, and this is an exciting day, Deb. So hello to our Twitter listeners. We are live, not just on YouTube today. We're also live on Twitter for the first time. So awesome. That is an exciting step for us here at Coach Talk.
Yeah, look at the two of us old folks, embracing technology.
Exactly, but we're no dummies though. That's why we have Brett and Colin and these young 20-somethings. They know how to hit all the buttons for us, so it gets done. But fantastic! I'm excited about this slate. It's we've got a 9-game slate, but 8 of them on the main tonight. We'll touch on that first game, but we're going to focus on creating some winning lineups for this evening. All kinds of great stuff happening here at Coach Talk. We had an awesome meeting of our staff last night, came up with some really good ideas there. So for our members that are listening in, check the announcements and everything in Discord, changing a few things up, adding some things. We're going to have a lot more usage of ownership percentage and some of the statistical analysis that you need to utilize really to be successful all the way around, regardless if you're playing cash or single entry or GPP. So we're adding a lot of that information. We'll touch on some of that ownership in today's discussion, and just going to really tighten all of that up as we get closer and closer to the NFL. So should be a great slate today. We do have a little bit of weather that we have to watch, though. So that is something that we're going to keep an eye on here. Let me double check here and see what the latest is, because it keeps changing, and we follow this very closely, partially because I enjoy the weather. but it is a huge edge. I mean, if you don't follow the weather real tight in baseball and football, really, especially baseball, though, then you can get stung. So there's 3 games, Deb, that we have to watch. The Battle of New York, the Mets and Yankees. There are definitely is going to be some rain this afternoon. Hopefully it clears by game time. I think of the 3 that have weather issues, it's probably the least of the 3. But it's going to be such a key game on the slate. We got to watch that closely. The 2 games in most concern are Cincinnati at Philadelphia and Atlanta and Pittsburgh. So the 2 Pennsylvania towns are the places that we have to be concerned about. And we'll watch that throughout the entire day. We'll post that in our Discord. And if there's any games we're fading of those, we'll let everybody know. Colin will get that up there on Twitter. So if you're watching here on Twitter for the first time, welcome. And we'll keep you posted at DFS Coach Talk with all of the information as we always do. So, all right. Anything else, Deb, from you? How did your weekend end up? How did you do DFS wise for the slate Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, I did pretty well. I couldn't make all the slates. I had a lot going on this weekend, but so I played small, but ended up with some nice wins yesterday, and actually cashed in on some wins on preseason football, which I took
Nice.
a little combination of Crash and my guesses lineups, and yeah, preseason football is a little bit of a crapshoot, but
Yeah.
figured might as well just play a little bit, and so had a pretty good weekend. I'm definitely up for the weekend, ready to take that bankroll and make some money this week.
Well, it's we've got so much going. I mean, we've added MMA and NASCAR on the weekends. That really spices everything up, and members are loving that. And a lot of stuff happening this winter. We're going to add hockey and just a lot more things here at Coach Talk, really expanding and growing. Boom Fantasy will be coming aboard as a partner here in about a week and a half. So we've got a lot of great announcements there. Let's give a real quick check into who's in saying good morning here. We've got the boy from Cali wins again. First in the chat. You're very good. I think he missed yesterday's. Now that I think about
he wasn't in yesterday.
Oh my gosh. What happened, dude? That's brutal. No wonder it wasn't a top-notch podcast. But you're awesome. Colin's in there with us. Colin is the one that's working so hard behind the scenes. He was able to get we got a new system together where we're pulling ownership to really be able to talk about that when we go over these slates. So shout out to Colin. Good morning, Payne. JT, what's happening? Benny Hanna, I think that's a new person in there. I wonder if that's a Twitter or a YouTube. So hello, Benny Hanna. Great to have you with us. Travis Wyndham, Niles Simmons. Great to see you guys.
Niles was our winner yesterday, wasn't he? One of our winners?
Niles was I think he was the
1 week, free week. Yeah.
That's right. And Todd, we don't see Todd in here. He won $25 yesterday. He's probably working though. We'll give Todd a pass this time. Hopefully he jumps in here and checks it out. As soon as the live podcast is over, it posts on YouTube, and you'll be able to get to it through Twitter as well. All right, Deb, what do you say? We'll watch those rain games, eight main slate games, but we do have that one game we'll touch on for those that are going to play anything solo early. It's a 2:10 game. The Chicago White Sox at the Kansas City Royals. Beautiful day in KC, 82 degrees. Slight breeze blowing in from center at 5 miles an hour. It's an 8 total, 4.39 implied for the White Sox, 3.61 for the Royals. And with the showdown pricing on DraftKings, Michael Kopech, who's been hot, 15.9K against Disco Daniel Lynch. We called him Disco last week, and he did okay. The lefty is 14.7K. So if you're playing that one, go for it. It should be an interesting early game. But let's turn our attention to this 8-game main slate. And wow, Deb, does it start out with a good one?
With a bang. What a great game.
New York Mets, New York Yankees. Very possible we could be looking at a World Series preview there. You never know. I mean, they got to get by the Dodgers, but it's possible. So what we have with hopefully skies clearing, it says 44% chance of showers at first pitch. I think it's going to be less than that. I'm hoping it does. We'll see how that goes throughout the day. 77 comfortable degrees in New York, 6 miles an hour blowing in from right center. And it is a 7.5 total, 4.19 implied for the Mets, and 3.31, which is not bad for the Yankees. That's the highest implied I've seen against Scherzer in a while, 3.31, which is really not very well deserved the way the Yankees are playing. Good night. They've lost like 16 of 24, something like that. They've been shut out 5 times in their last 12. It's just not the Yankees we've seen all year. And now they got to face Scherzer, Deb. So we will see. But you have to pay premium price for Max. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I've never seen, he's got to be one of the most competitive guys in baseball.
Oh, so no doubt.
Don't tell me he's not getting up for this game.
Oh, he's fired up for this one. There's no question. But We've been saying this for I think what is it? They said 28 days now. This Yankees funk has been going on. So we're at a month. I mean, how many times have we said the Yankees are going to break out? Judge is going to break out. That gets a little old with as expensive as they are. So
yeah.
I don't know. I agree with you. Scherzer's a bulldog, but it is a little scary. That's all I'll say. But if you're going to go with Scherzer, you're going to have to pay. 11.3K is a pretty costly price against the Yanks, but the Yanks are going bad. On the other side, Domingo Germán is only 7K, but he faces the Mets that have been pretty darn consistent. So should be a great one. Next game, 7:05, Cincinnati Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies. It is another possible rain game here. 79 degrees at first pitch. Slight breeze blowing out to center at 5 miles an hour. 8.5 is the total. We've got a 3.23 implied for the Reds. A big 5.27 for the Phillies. So big implied there. Luis Cessa, 5K against Noah Syndergaard. Thor is 7.8K for the Phillies. We go on to the next game here. I want to make sure Deb is still there. I don't hear Deb.
Sorry.
You're there?
Yep. There we go.
Oh,
yep.
You were just zoned out. I got you. Okay. I know I get boring. I chatter on.
No. I'm having a little tech issue. So.
Oh, no worries. As long as you're still here, I'm good.
We're good.
Now I switched out of my channel. I'm all off kilter. There we go. Okay. So it's that Cincinnati Reds Phillies game. 8.5 is the Vegas total. Like I said, big number for Phillies, 5.27. Yeah. Luis Cessa, 5K. Noah Syndergaard, 7.8K. So interesting. I don't know. The Reds really, with Votto going down with that torn rotator cuff, haven't been the same. But 79 degrees in Philly, if the weather clears, it's definitely a game the Phillies could be dangerous in, I think.
I agree. Yeah. The Phillies, Baum, that was your call yesterday.
He saved my bacon. Yeah, double dong for Mr. Baum. Definitely saved my bacon.
Yeah, they got some bats in that lineup.
Yeah, definitely. 7:05 as well, Atlanta at Pittsburgh. We've got, the third rain game. So right off the bat, bing, bing, bing. We'll see what's going on. At least we won't have any mysteries later. We'll find out before lock if they're either postponed or delayed. Hopefully it clears for all of them. We will see. I'm in Western PA, and I can tell you last night some wicked storms moved through here, and I would expect them to be right on the coast, probably through Pittsburgh, though, but Philly and New York, it is scary, so we got to watch those closely. This Atlanta-Pittsburgh game, 73 degrees, slight breeze blowing out to left. 9 is the total in Vegas, 5.28, pretty good number for the Braves, only 3.72 for the Pirates. Jake Odorizzi, 7.2K. He got roughed up last time up against the youngster Roansy Contreras, who at the beginning of the year I thought would be okay. Not so much. 7.3K.
Yeah, he's been fading a lot.
Yeah, I think he just wasn't ready. That they've called some of these guys up. They're just not ready to compete, is the bottom line. All right, at 7:10, 5 minutes later, we're in the Dome in Tampa. The LA Angels come to town. It is a 7 total is all. 2.80 for the Angels, even with Trout back. Low number there. Ohtani should be in the lineup. He's in the projected. He did get dinged up the other day as well, so we'll see. Let's follow that as the day goes on. 4.20 for the Rays, not bad. You got Tucker Davidson, the lefty, 6.6K, taking the hill for the Angels, and his hill opponent, Jeffrey Springs, the lefty, at 7.7K. He's had a pretty nice year on and off, but he's been pretty darn good for the Rays. Also at 7:10, the Rangers visit Minnesota. Should be a perfect night for baseball. Pretty warm, 81 in Minnesota. No wind to speak of, no rain or anything. Looks good there. 8.5's the total in Vegas. 3.40 implied for the Rangers. 5.10 for the Twins. Twins were stacked a little bit this weekend and let some people down, and then they also came through. So who knows with Minnesota? You just don't know what you're going to get. They have been super inconsistent all season, but they do get to go against the lefty Cole Reagans for the Rangers, and Sonny Gray, the veteran, 8.5K for the Twins. Reagans is 5.7K. So game, definitely some interest. I think there'll be a lot of people on the Minnesota side there.
Yeah.
We move to 8:05. Cardinals at the Cubs in Chicago. No win game, no nothing. 72, perfect night for baseball. Hardly a breeze in Chicago. 8.5's the total. 4.76 implied for the Cards. 3.74 for the Cubs. Jordan Montgomery, the lefty, 8.3K. He's been terrific since he was picked up at the from the Yankees. And the veteran Drew Smyly, another lefty, 7.5K for the Cubs.
Yeah, Smiley's been pitching a little better, but the Cardinals have hit him. I think there's going to be some offense in this game.
I think the Cardinals are going to get stacked quite a bit, even though you're right. Smyly has woken up a little bit in the second half. All right, 2 late games. So you have a late night 2-gamer if you want to play the after hours slate. The Marlins against the Athletics. 2 teams going nowhere fast. That's at 9:40. Really a beautiful night in Oakland. 75 degrees. Slight breeze blowing out to right at 10 miles an hour. 7 is the total, though. Low total. 3.75 for the Marlins. 3.25 for the A's. A guy here that looks pretty darn good right out of the chute, man. Edward Cabrera, the youngster from Miami. He's a fireballer. Looks to be a really promising pitcher. And he's pretty expensive for a youngster, 8.8K. Against the other side of the coin, not so much. Adam Aller, 6.3K. And he's been struggling out of the gate, no doubt about it.
Ouch. This morning I was looking for, all right, who can hit a home run in Miami? Because if any pitcher is going to give up a home run to Miami, it's going to be Aller. But it's just so hard to find someone on that Miami team who's going to hit a home run.
I'll tell you, though, last time I played JJ Bleday, who's probably going to bat cleanup, the lefty for the Marlins, he brought me home with a big night. So
absolutely,
I'm a little partial to him.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. He's there. Someone's gonna hit in that lineup today.
Definitely. And then we have the late game, which is bad news for Crash. I'm sure he's going to be pouting because, number one, it's a 10:10 at night. So all that beauty sleep that we know he needs so badly, he's going to lose. And then on top of that, his Brew Crew has to face a lefty, which hasn't been pretty for the Brewers this year.
Man, yeah. I
know it. How about 72 degrees with 1 mile an hour wind? Do you think that you could enjoy that game? Beautiful. It's an 8 total in Vegas, 2.97 for the Brewers because they're facing a lefty, but not a lot of respect for the Brewers lefty with a 5.03 implied for the Dodgers. So the Dodgers are 261 favorite against Crash's Brewers today. So that's going to be a nail biter for Team Milwaukee. It is Eric Lauer, the lefty, as we said, 9K, pretty expensive, against Julio Urias, the lefty, at 10K. So I don't know. That's going to be a tough task for the Brewers,
Yeah. They played each other last week too. I mean, I know Urias faced them and did very well. I think Lauer, Lauer gave up a bunch of runs late and I think lost that game. So
exactly,
it's a tough one, but maybe lightning doesn't strike twice, right?
It absolutely
that would be a real contrarian play.
No question about it. No doubt.
Milwaukee.
All right, a couple of things I want to do, Deb, and I want to get sort of an instant feedback. We're doing this on the run. It's changed. I didn't even go over this with you, but I know you're such a pro. You can just fly with anything because, I wouldn't want to spring this on Crash because
come on.
He'd be all nervous, but we got Deb on. I'm just kidding you. Crash is on. But I want to throw some of the early ownership look at you. and get your instant feedback here, because this is something we're adding to the mix. We're still going to do our pay up value and all of our stuff that we normally do, but we wanted to start adding these in because it's very important. You know, without question, leverage, shout out to our man Mike S. Leverage is extremely important. You got to know where you stand on these. And as we're tweaking things at Coach Talk a little bit, you know, we're not as much focusing on strictly the cash lineups. You can certainly play those and go a little more chalky, a little more safe. We want to gear it towards what we've seen our members asking for and playing a lot more. And that's a lot of the single entry and lower size tournaments, the 7-10 team contests. And I'll tell you, I've had great success. I'm on a huge run on Yahoo with those little 10-man deals, because yesterday, somehow with 83, I finished in a strong third and had a great cash. So you know, it gives you different options. So we want to start looking at that. And then we'll also give out some cores still on GPPs for those that want to go for the big bucks. So we're trying to be all to everybody, Deb, as we say.
Well, that's where, and the one thing I want to mention there is, you know, you talk about sort of lineup select or, you know, contest selection, right? And that's a big thing that you talk a lot about. And I know that, you know, for those on the chat, if you're members, it's in the Discord, there's, you know, tabs on it. I mean, it's so important because, we were joking last night, you know, Coach goes and cashes, comes in third place, wins $200 with an 83, and Crash and I have the same lineup, and we're in contests and we didn't even hit the money line. So it is super important, and definitely something that, you know, we preach here at Coach Talk, and, you know, you're the master at it, Coach. So it's a real value for our members.
It's my motivating piece because, you know, DFS is DFS. There's going to be some, you know, some things that you can't control, some variance, all of that stuff that everybody knows goes with it. But I still say, and I preach this all the time, and we do one-on-ones with every member when they come in, if they want to. And I'm happy to sit down with them for an hour or whatever it takes. And so is Deb and Crash and our whole team. But if you are not having bankroll management, contest selection as your two key components, you are going to keep reloading. If you just pour in and try to take one bullet shots to hit for $100 or $1,000 or whatever, it's going to be reload, reload, reload. You have to choose the right contests. Get yourself in a position where you can sustainably grow a bankroll over a long term. And that's a mixture of playing some cash, playing some single entry, and occasionally putting a couple of bullets in one of the bigger contests. But we'll coach you to that. So come with us, dfscoachtalk.com. We are going to coach you into really being able to sustain long-term and be successful in DFS. All right, back to what we were talking about.
Ownership.
Max Scherzer is number one right now in ownership. And at 11.5, 11.3 in those, you know, he's high priced across the board. What do you think about Max Scherzer at that price being the highest owned pitcher?
You're talking DK?
Yes.
So I think I'm looking at the latest.
That was Fanduel I was looking at.
Yeah. So I'm going to pull up. I'm looking
at the latest. You want me to go back to DK? See, we're doing this for the first time, guys.
Right, so exactly.
Roll with us.
I got FanDuel. I'm good.
Let's look at FanDuel first, because
so he's actually not. So right now I'm looking at ownership percentage, and Jeffrey Springs is actually the highest owned. He's at 26.6% ownership.
Okay, that I believe is on DraftKings, isn't it?
No, I think that's FanDuel. I think that's what we are doing this for the first time, guys. So
roll with us.
FanDuel. So if you look at FanDuel pitchers,
because I'm looking at.
Don't look at the top. Don't look at the top 1% category. Look at ownership percent, which is the second to last column.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so he did it. He sorted it differently.
He sorted by
mistake. Okay,
no, that's okay. It's okay.
We're on the same page.
Now we're on the same page
with you guys, because is all, you know, we're really trying to focus on this. So
this
Jeffrey
is where
Springs,
I'm actually going to. I'm going to fade Jeffrey Springs because at 26.6% ownership, You get no leverage. I mean, he's high owned because he's of all the, what you might call of all the top pitchers, he's the lowest salary, right? At 8K.
Right.
But, I think, I know they're showing that the Angels aren't going to hit very much tonight, but Trout's back. I think they're discounting that, and I see Trout going yard tonight. I'm fading Jeffrey Springs.
Yeah, and
that's
you know what? I
stand.
can see Springs. He's definitely on my radar. I think at that 8,000 price, I mean, to save 3,500 from Scherzer, that's impactful. And the Angels, that look at the implied total there from Vegas is low, but they are a minus 17.6 leverage. So I know that Mike S isn't going to be playing Jeffrey Springs.
That's right.
But I still think that they're he's a dangerous play. The guy that I'm most interested in is our second ownership, 17.4% right now for Julio Urias. And we talked about monster times here. And Crash would tell you himself, Milwaukee just can't hit lefties. So I think Urias at 17.6 or 17.4, I think he's under-owned personally.
I agree. I like him a lot. My strategy today, actually, I know we typically do our pay up and our value pitcher and our fade pitcher.
And we'll talk about them.
Yeah. And maybe but I think I'm employing a slightly different strategy today, because I think you've got some real superstar pitchers there and then a bunch of junk. So
we had that one guy's name was junk, that one pitcher. I don't think he's even in the majors anymore. But,
my God, you can't pitch with a name like junk.
You're in deep trouble if you have that name.
Yeah. So
anyway,
it's interesting. I mean, Scherzer's only the third highest ownership projection right now. Now, what we're going to do is this is part of, we talked about it a little bit last night. So we're going to go through, we're going to look at ownership early on during the podcast. And then if you join us in Discord, we're going to share sort of final ownership or latest ownership about an hour before lock. And we'll see what changes there.
And the reason we're doing it, we want to talk about it now and introduce it into what we're doing, because we're going to do it every day, and we're going to do it in basketball, and we're going to do it in football, because it's such a key. But things change, and what we want our members to have is the latest and greatest towards lock. Because let's say the New York game rains out and now Scherzer's off the board. Where is all that ownership going to shift to?
That's right.
You've got to be able. So it's part of the process. If you want to win at DFS, it's a process. What I always say is either the night before, the morning of, get your contest selected, figure out what you're going to play, get those locked in with some dummy lineups. Check out our podcast, go through everything we're going through, create sort of a holder lineup that if you fell asleep and slept through a lock, you wouldn't, be totally crying that you have that lineup. So you have something in there, and then join us in Discord, that hour, 45 minutes or whatever before lock, get the final ownership, get the corrections, our selections tightened up, and then you're going to be good to go. All right. Last couple of things real quick on this ownership. So after that, there's a massive drop off. Everybody is single digits. The only question I'll ask you in those small single digit ownership projections, is there anybody that dives out at you like, this guy should not be 1 or 2% owned? I think he's got a chance to be a good SP2.
In the 1 or 2 percenters, no, I would say the guy that I'm looking at is very low owned, 3.9%, and that's Cabrera.
Okay.
You've got some nice leverage at 2.6%. He is really low owned. We talked about how he's kind of come out of the gate really strong. You're playing against Oakland, one of the weaker offensive teams. So he's my value play. He's my number 2. I think he's going to be really solid. Once you start getting into, some of these other guys, Aller and Smiley and Sessa, just real bad.
As you
How about
said,
you? How about you? Do you see anyone? In those low ownerships?
I looked at Edward Cabrera a lot because he does have a great arm. He's going to be a really good pitcher in this league. My only concern, Deb, is how deep is he going to go? They're
Yeah.
being
Yep.
super cautious with him.
Yeah.
4 innings, 5 innings, a lot. I don't know if he stretches out much past 5. So, when I generally have a guy in there, and I'll make an exception if it's something weird like I did the other day with Dustin May. I expected 5 innings, but felt that he could, get it done. This is another situation where maybe against a garbage Oakland team in Oakland, which is a pitcher's park, maybe Cabrera can get it done in 5 innings. So I
stretch him a little
see
more.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
But other than that, the only other guy that's that I'd say is Jordan Montgomery, because he's right now at 5%, which is pretty low, and he's been terrific. I mean, I've mentioned last time I faded him because I thought, he's had a couple of great outings here. He's got to regress, and he didn't. And he's just pitching, really sound.
Really well.
So whatever the Cardinals pitching staff did to tweak him, it really worked, because he's going against the Cubs, which have sold out to playing a younger lineup. So I think it's a good potential there,
nice
for him. All right.
Nice.
And then what we're going to do is we'll touch on stacks when we do our stacks pick. As we go through that, as we introduce the new stuff in. So real quickly, let's just see who else has joined us. Not DePrince is in there. All right. You're late again, but we're cool with that, man. We're going to catch you up. If you have any questions, let us know, and we'll get after all of it. So I see a giant star next to Niles. Why is that? Why does he have a star?
That was me. I was starring him.
You're trying to mess me up. Absolute Power has joined the fray. What is up? All right. Are you ready, Deb? It is Monday, August the 22nd. So it's 22-22. All deuces wild here. Do we have a number 22 we can play today?
That's what we got to look at, right?
Got to look through that. There's something to it. Any narrative we can take. But what are your pay up, value, and fade pitchers? You touched on them, but let's get the official word so we can pull it and put it on TikTok, where you are a sensation.
Overnight sensation on TikTok. One of the few over 40 on TikTok. All right. So I think, like I said, slightly different strategy. I was sort of, I was internalizing the coach, it was about a week or two where you said, okay, I'm going with like 2 stud pitchers at the top. And I'm thinking about something similar. I've got 2 builds going right now. But one, I really like a double pay up with Scherzer and Urias.
Wow.
I really, and paying all that money, but I think today, it's a shorter slate. I don't think you have a ton of power bats in there overall. I think you win on, 40 plus pitchers, 40 plus fantasy points on pitchers. And I think, of course, Scherzer has one of the toughest matchups against the Yankees, but he's pitched well against the Yankees overall. And he's a beast when it comes to these important games. And I think he really gets up for this one and has a great game. And Urias, we've seen he's been like the master of consistency. And we've talked about it a bunch already, but Milwaukee with lefties, they can't hit lefties. And he's performed very well against them. So I think you take those 2 pitchers, you put 80 plus points in your pocket, and you're off to the races. You could get 100, frankly, with the 2 of them.
Oh, no question. I would expect, if you're going to pay up for those 2 guys, you need 100. You really do. Yep.
Yeah. So that's my, one strategy where I actually do have the 2 pay ups. The other strategy is I take one of those and I pair him up with Cabrera as my value play. So I do like Cabrera. You're saving a little bit, not that much, frankly. He's not that cheap.
He's priced up for a youngster. Yep.
Yeah, but it could also be a play again, like we said, sort of going against the grain from an ownership perspective.
Leverage. Yep.
So that might be. So as I'm doing GPP builds, that might be something that I'm looking
Every
at.
time we say leverage, Mike S gets $5. So we're gonna.
He gets all excited.
He gets $5. We got to slow it down, man. We've already got him like $40.
and his ears start twitching. And then I had mentioned it earlier. My fade is Jeffrey Springs. He's been solid. But I think, of all the top tier pitchers, I think he's the most vulnerable. I think with Trout back, I think there's a little spark at, LA's got to show something. And they've been hitting a little bit better lately. And so I think, we'll talk about it a little later, but I think I see some hits off of Springs. So I'm going to fade him.
I like it. All right. For me, I'm going up to Urias. He's my number one guy. I'm not going to go. I totally respect the Urias Scherzer move. I think it's very smart. I think you can get 100 of those out of those two guys combined. And maybe that's what you need. But they are both very expensive. And it becomes really a scratching and clawing to get a competitive lineup together behind them. And when I was building those this morning, I just couldn't get it done. So I knew that I had to make the very tough decision between those two guys. I'm not fading Scherzer, but my main lineup's going to have Urias. I mean, the dude's won 6 in a row, first of all. Milwaukee is horrific against lefties. They're 5th in the league in strikeouts. They're 29th batting against lefties at 217. For a whole team, they're batting 217 versus lefties. That amazes me. That's just horrible. And, I just, at 10,000, 10.4 on Fanduel and 52 on Yahoo, he's a decent bit cheaper than Scherzer. So that helped sway it. It saves me a little if I'm going to go that direction. So I'm real high on him today as my pay up. My value is Montgomery. I mentioned a little bit about him before. He's just showing such great consistency. And this Cubs team, young, they're going to be inconsistent. They haven't been great against lefties either. They're 23rd in the league batting against lefties. They're 14th in strikeouts. And it gives me a big savings. Montgomery's only 8,300 on DraftKings, 92 on FanDuel, and a giveaway 37 on Yahoo. So it allows me to get to some of the bigger bats on Yahoo. So I really do like him. I agree with you on Cabrera. I'm a little scared of how deep he goes, but he would be my backup value play. My fade pitcher, this isn't, any red alert call here, but anybody that sees Noah Syndergaard and says, oh, he's a decent SP2. Yeah. The dude's just not the same. He's not back from his injury yet. In his last 3 outings, Deb, take a wild stab. How many hits he's given up combined in the last 3 games?
I'm going to go with
this is Noah Syndergaard we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 22.
Very good, 25.
Wow.
So he's been getting smacked around big time. Yeah. And, I just think it's a tough spot for him. And it's not like he's complete giveaway, 7,800, 8,500, and 32. So I would not consider him for SP2. RJ, thank you for joining. Great to have you in here with us. All right. Now we go to the part that we've been super hot at. It is, again, saved our bacon a lot. Our calls on our BVP, which we believe in BVP here, even small sample size, and our home run call, which has been smoking hot lately. So, Deb, you know what? It's going to drive me crazy. You are sinking out of the picture.
Oh, am I? All right.
Like Ed Too Tall Jones. Does anybody remember Ed Too Tall Jones?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Old Dallas Cowboy.
Dallas. Yeah, exactly.
But he's super old. So if you can pull up, I'll squirt down a little bit, get Dirk into the picture. There.
We're floating. I'm floating.
Now I feel better because I keep feeling like I'm going like this.
I seem to
All
move.
right, Deb. Give us your awesome picks today. This is where I'm plugging them in my lineup as you're giving them right now.
There we go. All right. I debated where to use this guy, but I'm going BVP. And I'm going with my one of my new favorite Mets, Mark Canha, who hit 2 home runs yesterday. So the Mets came from behind for a 10-9 win.
Yes.
He is 7 of 11, so smaller sample size, but 7 of 11 versus German with a home run already. And the guy's hot. So I love plugging him in there, BVP, and watching him go for 2 hits, including a home run.
I love it. I love it. And just a 1667 OPS, by the way, for Canha against Herman. So.
Herman, right? Exactly. I mean, that's I'll take it.
How about your HR call?
Yeah, my HR call was I had struggled with a little bit.
Okay.
Had a couple ideas, knowing that I'm really locked in on. So I'm going with my gut here on Trout. I think
Oh,
he got
wow.
his first hit yesterday. He's back. I think he nails his first home run today. Springs does give up some home runs, about 1.4 per nine to righties. And I just think, that Trout's, getting his, he's going to get his stroke back. And, the guy is, what does he average? Probably about, one home run every 3 games. So,
He's amazing.
he's
That's a
due.
great
Yeah.
call because because Springs is so popular, that'll take Trout's ownership down a little bit.
I think it's
So
going to be pretty low. Yeah.
yeah,
He's really expensive. So yeah, I'm going to plug him in.
I love it. All right, for me at BVP tonight is Trey Turner. He's going against Eric Lauer. He's had success against him, small sample size, 5 for 12, 3 extra base hits, 2 homers, and just, walked a couple of times, 1462 OPS, 1,000 slugging, 462 OBP, and a 417 average. So I expect the Dodgers to hit Lauer a bit, and I think Turner will be right in the middle of that.
Yeah, I love it. He was my other, he was actually the other guy. If I didn't go with Trout, he was going to be my home run guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
My home run guy is going to be Jose Abreu against my man Disco Daniel Lynch. I don't know if he can shake that Disco name, so I think maybe. So Abreu's faced him 10 times, 4 hits. He's already taken him deep. He's walked a couple of times, which Abreu doesn't walk that much, so he definitely seen the ball out of Lynch's hand. 1,200 OPS, 700 slugging, 500 OBP, and that 400 average. So I think Abreu takes him deep in a nice weather game there in Kansas City.
I like it. We can't use him, unfortunately, on our main slate, but
I know.
Good call.
He is the early slate, but if you're going to use him on PrizePicks or if you're playing the single slate, he's a good guy to put in there. I'll probably throw another pick up there in Discord later from the main slate, but I really do think Abreu goes deep in that early game. All right. I'm going to throw a few stats up there real quick on the stack plays right now on FanDuel, just to get an idea where people are going, Deb. And then I'd like you to give me your stack, a couple stacks of the day. Right now, checking in early, we've got Atlanta as the number 1 stack against Pittsburgh. They're at about 16%. Philly at 12%. Cardinals, Minnesota, and the Dodgers all in that 8 to 9% range. And then it starts going down a bit to the Mets at 6.6. So that's really your top grouping. And then you've got a lot of low-owned stacks with some of the lesser teams in here, including the Angels down there dead last at 2%. Against Jeffrey Springs. So you might be onto something with Trout, maybe a little mini stack there. You could be super contrarian.
Exactly. They are definitely my GPP stack.
I knew it.
You called it. I think there's, I'm all in against Springs. I've been playing him a lot this year too. And it seems like, I've done okay with him. It seems like his big games, I haven't quite been on him. And then his games where he hasn't been great, I have. So, I think I'm going to flip it around this time. And I do like the Angels as a GPP stack for sure.
Okay.
And including Trout. I wouldn't play Trout and Ohtani. I just won't have the money for that. But if you build it around Trout, sorry about that. There's the phone.
That's Ohtani's agent calling you.
He's like, what the hell? Right? He's like,
by the way, keep an eye because Ohtani did get dinged up when he pitched garbage yesterday.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt he sits. So I'd sit him just because I'm mad at him.
Boy, he really screwed us, didn't he?
Oh my God. Well, he screwed everybody. It was like 70% owned. I mean, it was a chalk blocker. It didn't kill you to have him, but to expect 1.9 points out of Ohtani against that team, unbelievable. Yep.
So in particular, if I'm going with 2 of the pay up pitchers, you've got some nice low priced guys in the Angels lineup. You've got Joe Adele at 2.1, Walsh at 2.4. Velasquez at the bare minimum too. So yeah, I think, and Is it Rengifo? Luis Rengifo.
Rengifo. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
he's been hot.
He's been hot. Yeah. He's been real hot. So,
Well, you got to get cheap somewhere if you're going with those two pitchers. So you found your lane. That's a good play.
Exactly. And then the other, I think the money's on the right stacks right now. I think the stacks that are the highest owned are, picking one of those is the right place to be. I think taking a look later on and seeing where the leverage falls out, because right now you mentioned the 4 highest stacks being Atlanta, Philly, St. Louis, and Minnesota,
right?
And the Dodgers, I guess. And, right now they're all showing negative ownership or negative leverage with the exception of Atlanta and St. Louis. Right. So I think that's important to look at and see if, St. Louis is the lowest at 8.8% ownership. And so I like my favorite are St. Louis, Atlanta, and Philly.
Okay. Chalky.
Yeah.
I'm
exactly.
with you.
So that's,
my favorite stack, and I'll have probably 3 of these guys in my lineup. I'll pay the piper, but I like the Braves. I know Pittsburgh's not a home run park, but I think that Roansy's just struggled. Their bullpen struggles. Atlanta's hot. So I do like the Braves. I know they're the chalk stack, but I definitely like them. I also go ahead.
So sorry, I was going to say what's interesting though about today is that, you have so many, typically you kind of have 1 or 2 teams that are like really, you got the Colorado game or you have a Yankees game where you're just like, they're like 20% ownership or 18% ownership. You actually have enough teams right now. Nobody's overboard on ownership. Right. So I don't think there's going to be crazy chalk. Like if you've got like 1 or 2 that everybody's looking at. So I think Atlanta's a really strong play today. I agree with you.
The thing that makes these slates better, and I was so happy with DraftKings yesterday because they just took that Coors game right out in the middle of the day and they said, screw that. They threw it out. Yeah. And I love that because when there's a chalky Coors stack or there's a really high runs win game in Wrigley, it just messes up everything because it affects how you have to build a lineup. So the fact, like you said, that we don't have anything like that, it balances everything out pretty well. My second stack that I like is St. Louis. I do think I don't believe Smiley is the long-term answer for them by any stretch. I think he's winding down his career and is pitching there. I know he's pitched a little better, but the Cardinals are just a monster right now. They're pulling away from Milwaukee, and I think they want to put the nail in that coffin. So I think the Cardinals are a good one. My weird GPP stack today, it sounds nuts, and I'm not going to have a lot of exposure, 1 or 2 guys, 1 off, 2 off. The Reds, again, I just think Syndergaard, 25 hits in his last 3 outings, not going well. Their bullpen at Philly has been a complete disaster all year. So, I'm sorry, in Cincinnati is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I think that's just that Philadelphia Cincinnati game is a great spot to go. So that's sort of my the game that I think you're going to see a little bit more runs than we expected.
Well, you just messed up my my play there. I had that is the over in one of my picks. Thanks, Coach.
Well, that is one. That's one of my Boom Fantasy picks too. So we're going to have the same over.
Same over.
That is hilarious. All right. Well, before we let's double check. We're going to do our. Are you prepared to do a 2 brains lineup?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we have to do real quickly our PrizePicks plays, our Boom Fantasy plays, and then we're going to do that 2 brains are better than 1 lineup. But I do want to check real quickly. Oh, Josh is in there. We have to chill on the Brewers smash. Good Lord. Let's see. These days, man, I think good morning. Yep, everybody seems to be chatting. We got a good group in there. We keep that going. All right. PrizePicks, you know what? I'm going to click on PrizePicks because I looked earlier and they've been moving lines around like crazy. So I want to get some of the most up-to-date stuff. So I'm pulling it. Why don't you give us your 2 top prize picks plays. We'll have at least 2 more for our members closer to lock.
Okay. So my 2 are Trey Turner at over 1/2 of a run. I mean, come on. Yeah. Top of the lineup, right? I mean, he's going to be on base. Like, who else is scoring? So, yeah, I love that one. That's a lock.
Nice.
And then my other one is Max Scherzer at over 39.5 fantasy points. I still think,
I can't believe he's under 40.
I know.
That just respect for the Yankees, even though they've been just deadly slumped?
I think that's it. But I love those 2 plays.
I'm very surprised at that. All right, my 2 plays held sway here, so I feel good about them too. My old buddy Roansy Contreras under 5 strikeouts. I just don't think he lasts long enough against the Braves to get 5, maybe 3 or 4. So I'm taking under 5 Ks for Contreras. And in that same game, so you're going to have to move things around if you're parlaying and doing things and use different ones. But I like Austin Riley over 8.5 fantasy score here. I think Atlanta pours it on, and I think he'll be right square in the middle of that.
Nice. Love it.
And Boom Fantasy, our soon-to-be huge partners that we're so fired up for that launch. Who were your 2 favorite plays? We both have the same over. We know that in that Cincinnati Philly game. So there's one for everybody that you can double up on. Give us one other one if you can, Deb.
Yeah, my other one's going to be the run line. I'm going back to the Angels game, right? I mean, I got to go across the board with them. So I can get a plus 1.5 for a minus 128. So I like that. I'm locking in that the Angels. I actually think the Angels can win. Thought about taking the money line, but I'll take the 1.5. And
the 1.5 is a great play. I mean, it comes through. There's no doubt. I'm going to go the other side, minus 1.5. And so this would be the time, Crash, if you're listening in, you may want to mute your speaker for a minute. I'm taking the Dodgers minus 1.5 with Urias on the mound. I do think they hit. They get some hits. They're too heavy of a chalk favorite to play them on the money line. You do lose that 9th inning at bat, so it hurts, but you get it closer to playing it, at just a minus 110, 120. So I'm going to take the Dodgers minus a 1.5.
Nice.
All right, Fanduel GPP, 2 brains are better than 1. Fired up for this. Deb, it's your turn to pick first. Let's build a winner full lineup here for everybody we're going to split this for everybody that's in here. We've got 30, 40 people in here. It's a big enough pool. We can all split it. Let's play the same thing and have some fun.
Absolutely. Okay. So my first pick is going to be Dansby Swanson at shortstop.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
I like that play because you know that I want to have a little bit of a Brave stack. So
I like them too. Yeah.
Austin Riley. So we're spending a ton of cash.
Okay.
We have a tendency to be big spenders. Crash saves my bacon every day. I don't know why I've used that term, saves my bacon, like 15 times today, but I must be hungry. It's a subconscious. I need bacon.
Thinking bacon, huh?
Where's Homer Simpson? So we've spent $3,800 each on Riley and Swanson. Crash usually has like a $2,100 guy that gets me back on pace, but you and I are big spenders.
We got a couple of guys. I got a couple of guys. I'm going to go with, kind of the moderately priced Mark Canha, my BBP at $2,900. So that'll get us back a little bit.
You're the biggest Mark Canha fan in America.
Love him.
He came through for you the last time you played him, by the way, if you don't remember.
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
He was the clutchy man for you. All right, here's the weird thing. We can go super cheap, but super chalky with an 8,000 springs, but he's your face, so I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to take a shot here, if you don't mind, Deb. Go against the grain all the way around because it saves us 1,200. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know. I can't decide if I want to go down to my value pitcher here. Maybe I will.
Montgomery.
Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
And I hate not taking Urias there, but it gives us over 3,000 ahead the rest of the way. That gives us,
I like it.
Keeps us in contention.
I like it. All right.
And this is a GPP, so.
Exactly. All right, you're going to kill me.
Oh, no.
I'm going with Acuna. Going with Mr. Ronald Acuna Jr., 4,200.
That's okay. Somebody's got to spend the money. That all of a sudden we're down to 27.75. But I think
we're going to be okay.
We've got the Braves cash money going here for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Let me see if I can find us a little.
We got a couple of good plays. You don't want your guy Blade, huh?
That's exactly who I clicked on right now.
Absolutely, right?
You read my mind. JJ Blade, batting cleanup, lefty, $2,400. That's amazing that you said that.
Let's do it.
Back up to 2,900. I'm playing the role of Crash, saving the cash today.
Exactly. I'm all in on the big guys, the big guns.
That's okay.
So I'm going with Hoskins as our first baseman. We're going to take a little bit of that. Yeah, that high Philly, that game is going to be well over 8.5.
I think it's going to go over as well. I really do. Let's see. So that leaves us. I can get
2,700.
You know what? Since you like him and he's one of your plays and he's been hot, I think he'll bat third or fourth. I'm going to take Rengifo from the Angels.
Okay.
So that gives you $2,700 for a utility player.
Okay, nice. All right.
So you got quite a bit there to work with.
Yeah, I got to go back to. Hang on one sec. Sorry, I got to move somebody around there. Miss Blade. There's Blade. Okay, so 2,700. That is a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot. There's a lot of good choices. You got a bundle of them.
I like it. Okay, so you did India could be an interesting play there.
Could be.
Boy, Margot let me down.
Yeah.
India or Fraley.
Margot had a great BVP against that guy too. He was awesome.
I know.
Awesome.
I thought he was going to do great. Yeah, India or Fraley. I kind of like Fraley, I think.
Fraley's been hot. Man, he went berserk. Mike S played him, I think, all weekend. I think he homered both games, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Josh had him too.
The other guy who's down there is, like I said, if there's one guy, I was looking for one guy on Miami to hit a home run. It was Aguilar.
There you go.
And
he's a good play too.
All right, let's go Aguilar. Let's do that. Let's go a little real contrarian there.
Little mini Blade Aguilera stack.
I like it. Little pop.
That leaves us $100 because again, we have some of these games we don't know for sure what the weather's going to do. So we're going to follow those. And if we have to switch, that gives us at least a little cushion. So our two brains lineup for today, which is Monday, August 22nd, Jordan Montgomery, Rhys Hoskins, Luis Rengifo, Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Mark Canha, Ronald Acuna Jr., JJ Blade, and Jesus Aguilera. So our last guy is Jesus. And I always, when we take the Jesus, I always tell Crash, you can't go wrong with Jesus. We got a winner.
Can't go wrong with Jesus. Exactly. That's awesome.
So we got it, man. That lineup hopefully is a winner. Let's double check before we check out here. We always go a little long, but that's okay. Everybody knows. Damian Darby's in there. All right, man. Thank you. Keep up the good work. We'll do that. He was a winner last week, I think, in one of our drawings. So great to have you back in there. Do you think the Brave games will play? Well, I hope so. As of now, we're going to follow it. It is one of the games we're watching closely. It's going to be obviously a huge key. So if we think it's going to be a serious delay or cancel for postponement, we'll pull those guys. But as of right now, if I had to say, I would say yes, I think it does play. I like that game to play better than I do the two games, Philly, New York. I think the ones I'm a little more afraid of at this moment. But we're going to follow it. I I know everybody gets sick of hearing me, but I took meteorology in college. I'm a weather guy. So I will be
all over
posting.
it.
I'll be posting radar, and we'll have our calls when we get in there. Aguilar. Okay, I said Aguilar, whatever. We put an extra.
Thanks, Crash.
We put a little extra in there because we're gonna want to say his name, Aguilar. Like when he hits a home run.
Exactly.
Crash just has sour grapes because I picked against his Brewers today. Sorry, Crash. Too bad you can't say anything. All right, Deb. Any final words?
No, I'm excited for today. It's going to be a good day. We had a good turnout today in the chat, and we are going to be trying something a little bit new tonight, right? We're going to be doing for GPP lineups. We are going to be giving out cores instead of full lineups. So we'll see that for DK, Yahoo, and Fanduel. Now, except I guess our 2 brains are better than 1 will be a full GPP.
Oh yeah, so we trumped that right off the bat. I guess when we do it 2 brains, we'll have to adjust that. Poor Colin created that nice, beautiful chart, and we jacked it up already. But we're getting used to these new changes. We're trying to make everything better. And listen, and on a serious note, give us your opinions. We want to hear what you want. We're trying to tweak constantly to give you the best that we can, both in front of the paywall on the free pod that we're going to do 7 days a week for all of our main sports. And then also for our members, we want to give you exactly what you want, and we want to get it done correct. So, all right. I think that is it. Dwayne, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. We really appreciate you. Crash gets back on tomorrow, where hopefully he'll be able to give me the business on the Brewers and why they can't hit lefties. And we will take you home then tomorrow. But Deb, thanks for jumping in. I know you've got plans tomorrow. Deb's usually our Tuesday person, but Deb and Crash flip-flop. So anyway,
nice enough to hook me up.
Let me clear this up real quick. So for our members that are listening, this is what we're going to give out every night. We're going to give out our Draftkings Core, which is to be used specifically in like single entry lineups. That's what I build. That's what I have become a professional in this doing. So when we give out that core to our members, what you can do with that core on DraftKings is you can add a few chalky plays to it and make that your cash lineup. Or you can add a couple of longer shots and get it more towards a GPP, or just middle of the road, fill them in and play those single entry lineups. So we wanted to make it so that you could move that lineup around however you see fit. And then we'll have a core for DK that Mike will provide, that he does every day, that's strictly GPP. Mike is our professional GPP player, so he is producing lineups that for takedown type scenarios. But you're going to have to fill in the rest of those guys from the core. DraftKings only allows core builds, not full lineups. Then what we're going to do on FanDuel is I'm going to give out a full single entry lineup. The lineups like I normally give out all the time. It's a full lineup. You can play it anywhere, to be honest with you. But if you want to tweak with it, mess with it, maybe pull out, like if I have a Blade in there or somebody like that, and you want to put a chalkier person in, you can play it in cash. Or if you want to make it more of a GPP-ish style, you can add somebody from one of the chalky plays in and go that route. So it gives you options for our members from that full lineup. And then normally we'll do a GPP core that today Deb would give out. But since we did a 2 brains, when we do a 2 brains, we'll just give you that full 2 brains lineup. But that core in the GPP for FanDuel, it just allows you the leverage to make some other plays so that we're all not replicating for a single bullet takedown. Yahoo, that's how we'll work that. I'll give out my full Yahoo lineup like I always do for a single entry. That's what I base it on. I'm trying to connect all the dots there. Again, you'll have the ability, if you want to put a little chalkier guys in, take a few of my guys out, play it in cash, or vice versa for the bigger GPPs. And then Deb will be providing, and normally it will be Crash or whomever's on our pod that day, will create a core GPP group that you'll be able to plug in and then fill in the last few spots. And that gives you a good shot at getting a solo takedown for a Yahoo GPP. So that is the best way that I can explain it. Hopefully that really gets everybody connected there. Let's see who's in here. Anybody else? Travis, thank you. Damian, everybody else. All right, great. Anybody else have anything else? Any final questions? Deb, did that make sense?
Yeah, that was great. And obviously, if anyone has any questions, just reach out in Discord. We're happy to, kind of clarify anything.
Yeah. Colin's on watch there. He's going to be answering all those questions throughout the day if anything pops up as well. And you can also check us out. First of all, if you want to join, dfscoachtalk.com. We would ask you also on this podcast, if you're checking out right now, hit the thumbs up on the way out the door. And also hit the subscribe button and click the little alert so you know when any of our podcasts post. We also have a new podcast schedule that we're going to switch around. We're going to do 11 o'clock all the days that we have an early slate. We're going to start moving to 1:30 p.m. Eastern for when there's later slates. So we get you more updated ownership and all of those pieces. I hear you fully official when you start getting the bots. Oh, okay. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There you go.
We are
a bot join us.
We're a real deal when we start getting these ugly, stupid bots in here, and we have to block those out. Jeez, they're
Big
so.
Time.
Don't they have something better to do? Good Lord. But thank you, RJ. Thank you, everybody else. And we really do appreciate that. And we're Twitter at DFS Coach Talk. We'll be updating any changes to the Two Brains and any weather updates as well. So, Deb, thank you very much. I hope you continue to feel better. We expect to be kicking field goals here before long. And we'll be back with you for sure next week. So thank you.
Take care, guys.
All right. Have a great one. We'll be back tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB DFS, PrizePicks, and Boom Fantasy. Goodbye, Twitter, and our best friends at YouTube. Have a good one.